Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have a very special video. We are going to cover the Kfir C.2, the little lion, the new addition to War Thunder and to the Israeli 3 as an event vehicle for the crafting event of the Battle of Arachis. So once you get 3 of the victory points over here, you can spend on the Kfir or the T-72 that I'm going to make a video probably later today as well. And yeah, it's the event vehicle price. A pretty cool aircraft. In general, as a basic information, is the same as the C7, but it's a little bit earlier. So it has the same radar / radar rangefinder. The engine is a little bit less powerful, but not by much. It's like 300 or 400 kilogram force less, so it's a little bit less. I think it's the same engine as the Italian. Oh no, it's the 19, I think. Let me check if it's the S variant. I know, yeah, it's but I think it's the Phantom actually. Let's see. Yeah, it's the Phantom engine. So the Kfir C7 has a little bit more power to it, and we are going to test it out in a bit, but just to show a little bit of the power now. And yeah, look at the stats of it, pretty cool and pretty strong. As you see, it can carry the M9Gs and DDs, and various types of bombs, the Vulcans, the Mighty Mouses, the Zunis, Mark 82, Mark 83, and Mark 84 bombs. So yeah, it's a pretty good aircraft. A cool little thing that if you use the 750 pound and the Mark 82s, you can actually use a droppable tank that you cannot drop, but still a pretty fun little thing to actually use. The aircraft becomes, you know, pretty like combat ready looking, you know. So yeah, pretty cool. The skins that you have in this aircraft are this normal one that I actually enjoy more than the other one, and this Meshing Parrot camouflage, which is for the 149th squadron of the Israeli Air Force. So pretty cool as well. It costs 200 golds, but you can actually grind it out. And yeah, but the standard one is, I think it's even better because it's very unique. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty interesting. There's all the loadouts that I said. No armor, and that's the power. Doesn't have a lot of fuel and stuff like that. But yeah, let's test it out against some aircraft in the speed department. And then after that, we're going to see some battles as well, in some different usages in the aircraft. Okay, so sorry about the Discord. So yeah, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. So yeah, first thing that we have here is of course the performance on these aircraft compared to the Kfir C.2, while trying to actually just take off and maintaining 600 meters and trying to accelerate to Mach 1. So it's basically a start of the match kind of thing, you know. And the objective is to see what aircraft is the fastest one in acceleration. Of course, I don't think it's a very, you know, I mean, it's a fair fight, but these are completely different aircraft. As you're going to see, of course, the F4E, the MLD are larger aircraft with other purposes in mind, but still, they are using the air-to-air loadout. Every single aircraft is using that. So as you see, the Kfir C7 puts an amazing 55 seconds, the C2 a minute 01, then the MLD with 1:06, and last but not least, the F4E with 1 minute and 11 seconds. As you see, the C2 is not as fast as the C7 in acceleration, but is still an amazing and very fast aircraft, very similar to an F104 and stuff like that. And here we have the max speed test. Of course, some people ask me to do this, so as you see, we have 1400, 60, 70, and then the aircraft just kaput. So I wouldn't pass 1,470 kilometers per hour, or even a little bit less than that. I try to actually turn and make some kind of turn that makes the aircraft brakes, but in positive G's I think it cannot do that. Kind of has a compression in higher speeds, but in lower speed it can pull like to 12 G's and it still doesn't brake, so I don't think it's going to brake. Maybe rolling a little bit more, I don't know, but probably not. But negative G's together with rolling, of course, makes the aircraft do that. So yeah, and of course we have some battles here. We're going to see the first one using a mixed loadout with Mark 83s and the AIM-9Gs, and just to show a little bit on normally how I use these aircraft. After all, they are attack aircraft in real life. They are made for that. I mean, they were kind of made to kind of be a multi-purpose aircraft. But yeah, I like to fly aircraft as they were supposed to be flown. So in general, as you're going to see, it's a very capable bomber, and normally I do that just to grab a couple of points. It's not the normal match that I do, but it is very effective to get points and money. So yeah, it's a way to use this aircraft, and yeah, it's just very fun to fly in general as a bomber. I'm going to make a video on Wednesday with this aircraft in simulator battles, and you're going to see that it's very fun to fly it like a multi-purpose aircraft. But now that I dropped the bombs, let's go for fighting. The AIM-9G, of course, one of the best missiles in range. It doesn't turn a lot, but the range of the missile is just amazing, so try to use that as always. I fire from very far away, because if I get too close to the target will see my missile being fired, and he will be able to evade the AIM-9G because it's very easy to evade it. So in this manner, I just try to stay like a stealth up like weapon, kind of, you know. So yeah, but anyway, the pros and cons of this aircraft, of course, the pros are the speed. It's very fast, it's very maneuverable. It has an amazing engine. It's a Phantom engine in a Mirage, so yeah, it's pretty amazing. Very light, very nimble. The weapons are alright, you can use them, you know. It does have more air-to-ground options than air-to-air options, but still it is a very good aircraft for that reason. So yeah, and the cons are especially of course it doesn't have a radar. The guns are the DEFAs, which can be a little bit frustrating to use sometimes. They got this type of critical hit that doesn't do anything, and they are very low muzzle velocity. They don't have a lot of range, not a lot of ammo, so you have to be careful, but still a pretty good gun if you get used to it. The missiles are alright, but they're not the most amazing thing ever as well. I still think that this aircraft, to be a very competitive aircraft, needs to have like a Python 3 type of thing to be actually really competitive. And sorry about the Discord, I don't know why it's kept, I tried to messing with the options and I don't know, it didn't work properly, but still yeah, it's a very capable aircraft. I don't think it should have the Python 3, but to be on par with MiGs and, you know, the FOR probably does need that, but still a very good aircraft even with the M9Gs. Of course, it takes less M9Gs than the C7, so you have to think about that, but the BR is also lower. Another con that the aircraft has is, of course, the flare amount, the chaff amount, the countermeasure amount is just 32, so it is very limited, especially if you're using mixed loadouts as I normally use. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. Use the flares carefully. Here we have another match, now using it as a proper fighter, you know. Very good match, and using the missiles from far away, as you see. And yeah, the M9G, if you had time to actually get to speed, it is actually a very good missile, so that could be kind of a pro. So yeah, the performance in general of the aircraft it is like this. It's a very fast, nimble, and when I say fast, it's really fast, as you're going to see. I get to Mach 1.5 plus with the, I think, with the 5,000 meters mark. So I'm not flying super high, but I'm still getting incredibly amounts of speed. So it is very similar to the C7 in that manner, you know. After all, it is an earlier version to the C7. So yeah, the thing is, even with this performance, I mean, if you've never flown a Kfir in general, you know, you are going to find this aircraft amazing. Amazing. You're going to just love it right from the instant that you get him. You know, you got the A9Ds on the start, and you can ground pound. It has the performance to be fast and ground pound, and then after that help your team. You can do a lot of things. You can even ground on tank RB with it. But in general, if you already have the C7 or you plan to get the C7, you're going to see that it is kind of a downgrade. It is a downgrade from the C7. So there, if you have the Israeli Tech 3, if you have the C7, there's not much reason to actually keep this aircraft. I think the question is that I put it on the thumbnail. Should you keep it? I think it depends on some things, but in general, no. I think if you sell it, you're going to gain a lot more for it, especially the grinding that you need in this event is very strong, so you need to actually think about what you're doing. If you want an aircraft that is very unique and very different, has a two very cool skins, and you know, it's just one more aircraft for your collection, Israeli aircraft, yeah, sure. But if you are flying another nation and you're not much into Israeli aircraft or Mirages for that matter, I just think that it's not worth it, you know. I think it's a very fun aircraft for collectors, you know, but not a very, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think I take this aircraft over any F5C or F5A, excuse me, for events and stuff like that, even the PFM and maybe even the MiG-23 MF, comparing these to other event aircraft. I probably still take this aircraft, but the thing is that you already have a C7 in the lineup. So, and the BR change, I mean, the 11.0 doesn't really affect you, you know. 1 out of 10 times you probably maybe will get a down tier, so kinda doesn't matter that much, the 0.3 difference from the C7, and you just it doesn't have 4 missiles, it doesn't have 2 pylons, I think, for bombs, so it takes less bombs. The engine is less powerful than the C7. So in general, I think it's just a very unique aircraft, but it is very like a very much a collector's aircraft, in my opinion, at least. Very different from the idea of keeping the T-72 M2, for example, that I'm going to make a video about it. It's just it's so unique that it doesn't matter that much, because you have, I mean, it's unique in the sense that the differences are not that much, but it has differences, so it is unique, but it's not enough to be worth to keep it if you already have the C7. So think about that, okay? So should you keep it? In my opinion, no. I think the C7 is a lot better, and the money you sell this aircraft with, you can actually buy another thing that you like, a pack or something, or another event vehicle that you like. So yeah, and but just a little thing, that if you are going to keep this aircraft, just remember that this aircraft can get 2 gun pods with 2 Vulcans, which is always a pretty fun thing to have. So yeah, see you guys on the next one, and bye guys.